Bring your cup and take a seat. Fill it up, coffee, wine, or tea. Come find what you're looking for. A good pour.
Welcome back to A Good Pour. I am Kathryn Good. You can see we have a brand new setup today, and I'm excited to introduce you in the future to all this room can be for you as well. But today we have Drew Van Huss. Drew Van Huss is a history teacher at Station Camp High School in Gallatin, Tennessee, where he's known for bringing the past to life and making it personal. He's passionate about helping students connect through history, through storytelling, artifacts, and conversation. And his impact goes well beyond the classroom. Welcome to the podcast, Drew.
Thank you so much. It is a pleasure to be here today.
I'm so excited. So I have not known you long, but my husband has known you for a very long time.
I have known your husband since sometime in elementary school. I want to say it was like first or third grade or something like that. So we go way, way back.
Which is funny because we are not from here.
Yeah, none of us. Me and Seth grew up in Kingsport, very upper east corner in Tennessee.
So when our kids were approaching high school, I think he knew you were here at the time. I think we found out, I don't know, a couple of years before they started high school, but it was I really want Caleb and Clara to have, Mr. Van Huss's, because they know you as Mr. Van Huss. And so I think Caleb took the AP class strictly for that reason. Like, I think he registered knowing that he was going to have you, which was great because the reason you're on today, there's so many reasons you could be on, but this week we're celebrating Teacher Appreciation Week. When this airs, it will be Teacher Appreciation Week. And when I thought about, of course, all kinds of teachers that could be on this podcast doing good work, but I was like, why not have my kids' favorite teachers? So you in the AP class, I feel like Caleb has always loved history, but you made it fun and alive, and I'm pretty sure he broke the curve, right?
I think he did. I think he may have set the curve a few times. I know he had some classmates probably getting a little mad because he was scoring so high.
Yeah, there were seniors in that class that were actively angry with him. That's what a lot of what I remember about his freshman year.
My first memory of Caleb, and Caleb and Claire are both just wonderful kids, and I love them dearly. And Caleb, he was in my class for probably about a week before I put it together because I'm kind of slow about this stuff sometimes. And we had probably been having class for a few days, and I was like, Caleb Good. I was like, you don't know a guy named Seth, do you? And he was like, it's my dad. And I was like, when were you going to tell me this? I was like, do you know? Like, we've known each other forever. And he was like, I know. It's like, you got to tell me these things. I'm not going to pick up on it.
That is Caleb's personality. He's going to wait for you to discover something about him. That is totally his personality. Well, thank you for being on. Tell me a little bit, just since it's Teacher Appreciation Week, tell me about the good work you feel like happens in our school system, what teachers are doing, why we should be appreciating them to begin with.
Let me tell you, we are so blessed to have the teachers we have here in Sumner County because we have so many good schools here. We have so many good educators. There's not a bad place you can be if you're in Sumner County and if you go to any of these schools. I've been teaching here for 15 years now, and I know the people I work with at Station Camp High School, there are just so many excellent, extremely caring people that will go above and beyond. And it is such an honor for me to even be in those hallways with these people every single day because they're just incredible.
Yeah. So you're a teacher, but you also lead the tribe. Is that the right word?
Co-lead the tribe with Lisa Bain, who's another teacher there. And I help lead a lot of the pep rallies. So I'm the person who is crazy enough to get out there with a microphone in front of over 1,000 high school kids and just go crazy. And that's one of my favorite parts of my job. I love getting out there at pep rallies, getting up into the crowd and just, letting them go crazy and build up the hype for the school. And it's a blast.
So, and you do the similar for the youth at First Baptist, right?
Yes.
Similar energy.
I run games with First Baptist Hendersonville on Wednesday nights with their youth group.
So clearly a lot of energy. Much more than I feel like I have right now.
I don't know where it comes from a lot of times, but...
You also are the co-founder of Every Kid's a Hero. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, my one of my best friends from college, Dr. Britt Maxwell, and I started the Every Kid is a Hero Foundation. It started out as kind of a side business for Britt, where he was just making custom comic books for any kid that wanted to see themselves as a superhero. And we developed it over time, and we had our first event at Station Camp High School in January 2020. And we decided we were going to do an event for special education students and make them the heroes of their comics so that they are able to see themselves as heroes and see how special they all are. I've had the great opportunity to work with some different special education students. I announce Special Olympics for Sumner County usually every year.
Okay.
That's actually coming up tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we're doing that.
Kim has been on here with Emma Lau. I don't know if that was a great program. Yeah.
So we started with that and developed it over the pandemic. We turned it into a 501c3 status company, so a charity organization. And did it to where we can accept donations and it's all tax deductible. And we started having these events at Station Camp and anywhere else that'll have us. We did one in Rutherford County last year. And we put on these Every Kid is a Hero Days, where we bring students of all high schools in Sumner County and they get to compete in superhero games. We have a superhero parade. I've had some wonderful musical artists like Troubadour Blues, Skylar Anderson, some people like that have come and played some music for some of my kids that volunteer, and they come and hang out with the special ed students. And it's just this huge event. And then we raise money for the event and take that money and donate it to special education teachers. And it's been spread out through all high school special ed teachers in Sumner County.
That's amazing.
And we hope in the future that we can bring in middle school and elementary school and make it a true county-wide event. I think we're very, very close to doing it.
Yeah, I'd love to see that happen too. That's amazing. Thank you for that. I mean,
it's a blast.
You're involved in a lot. So
I am.
I actually asked Claire this morning. I said, "Well, tell me why he's your favorite teacher." And she was like, "He's everywhere, and he takes that energy everywhere too. It's not that you're just involved in a lot of stuff. You're increasing the energy throughout the school, which I think is a really cool description."
I think the secret is I'm one of those people that's lucky enough to love my job, and that's why. I just really appreciate where I'm at and what I get to do, and it's fun.
Yeah. So you started in the music industry.
Yes. I started when I was in college. I interned for the Country Music Association that does CMA Awards, CMA Fest. I interned there for a year in college, and then that turned into my first full-time job. And worked at CMA full-time in a variety of different departments from 2001 to 2006. And then I went and did book publicity for about a year and a half with Lifeway. And I did PR for their Bibles and biblical reference books. When I left CMA, my wife had kind of said, you should think about teaching. And I was like, I don't want to go back to school. I wasn't the greatest student in school and didn't think it was for me. My mom was actually a teacher. She taught kindergarten and first grade for over 30 years. So I knew what it was like, and I knew the dedication and the energy it takes to be a teacher, and didn't think I wanted it. And I went and did book publicity for a year and a half, and we hit the 2008 recession, and they called me in one day and said, "Hey, we really like you, but in 2 weeks, we got to get rid of your job. So sorry."
Yeah.
So at that point, I talked to my wife, and I was like, okay, I'm ready now. I've said a lot of times, I feel like when I left CMA, I wasn't ready to make that jump. And it's almost like God kind of gave me a job doing work with Bibles and stuff for a year and a half till I made up my own mind that that's what I wanted to do, and then was ready to go do what he wanted me to. So I've always kind of felt like that.
Yeah.
So I went back to school for 2 years and got my master's, and here I am.
That's all. And so you knew high school, right? I mean, you knew that's what you wanted to do?
High school.
Did you know history?
Yes.
Okay.
That I was always pretty good at history. I could have never taught math or science. My hat is off to all those teachers because I don't think I would be any good at that at all.
Yeah.
But I always had a love for history, going back to when I was a kid. And my wife and I had volunteered with a youth group at the church we were with then. So I kind of figured out that I liked working with high school kids, and that was something I could do. So that's what got me there.
Yeah. Tell me why does history still matter today?
There's so many reasons. I think it still matters today because we need to make sure that we haven't made the mistakes of the past. And if you know history, you know what's worked and what hasn't worked. And I think that's a good guide of, how for all of us to move forward to hopefully we've learned the good lessons about things we can do to help each other out and be there for each other. And hopefully we can, work past some of the differences that have caused problems in the past.
Yeah. We haven't been friends on Facebook for that long, but when Cory Booker, I guess, did his 25-hour speech, and I mean, you just came on and said, it doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on. It doesn't, this is historic. And that struck me there's so much, if we know history and we can at least, it doesn't really matter which side. We need to at least be understanding what's going on and watching what's going on.
Absolutely.
But if you don't know why that's important, or, it's just some guys talking for 25 hours, right?
Absolutely. I know I drive my family crazy because I'll notice things like that. And it's I think he's going for the record. And I knew I used to teach a government class, and I was showing Mr. Smith Goes to Washington with Jimmy Stewart. And my students are always fascinated with the filibuster and everything. And while what Cory Booker, it wasn't technically a filibuster, but still the longest speech ever in the Senate. And when I saw that he was going for that, I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, we got to get the television on. This is going to be historical. And you can hear people up in the gallery, other representatives clapping when he went over that. And I totally geek out at historical moments like that. And I think it's neat to see.
Well, for me, it was a good reminder of this is why history matters, because we have to know things. And if we're going to, put markers on what is happening today, we have to know what's happened in the past. Thoughts on, you got a senior superlative this year.
Did. I was voted best male teacher for this senior class.
My kids are not the only ones
that's true. There are a few. I got a few votes in there, I think. It meant so much to get it for this class because there's a number of seniors this year that I've felt really close to, and they've taught me a lot as a teacher. I think it's always important to know that your students can teach you a lot, as much or more than you can teach them sometimes. Mm-hmm. And this has been a group this year that I felt really, really close to. So it was a very high honor that I got that for this year.
Yeah. So I'm sure you feel appreciated with that.
Very much.
So, elementary schools and sometimes middle, but I think we drop off. Elementary schools get a lot of love and attention this week during a teacher appreciation. There's, PTOs that are focused on that. How do we show our appreciation for middle school and high school teachers?
That's tough. I think we joke around a lot at high school that, when Teacher Appreciation Week rolls around, it's the elementary school teachers are getting all the love, and we joke around and stuff, but they deserve it. I've got 2 kids in elementary school, so I know how much those elementary teachers deserve every single bit of anything that they get. I think when it comes to middle school and high school, the thing that gets me more than anything, obviously, yeah, you can get somebody a Starbucks gift card or something like that. It's always going to matter. When I get a note, if I get a note from a parent or especially a student, that means the world to me. If some kid that's gone through my class has taken the time to write down what I did to help them or just tell me that they appreciated it, man, I hold that in my heart forever. There's not a one of those that I get. And I've gotten a few over the years, and man, they all mean something. Yeah. Every single one of them is something special.
Yeah. So here's your call to action this week. If you have a teacher or your child has a teacher, whatever grade, just make sure to send a note or an email just saying thank you for the good work that they're doing in all of our kids' lives. It is, I have a senior, and let's see if I make it through this without crying. You've just been a big part of, I don't know if you were at the football field for senior night, but you were named as his teacher. I think they asked for inspiring teacher. And so, that means a lot to me as a parent to know that there's somebody in my child's life that's made a difference. And when he's at school more than he's home, often, I mean, now for sure, because he's never home, but school gets him more than I get him a lot of times. And so it's just nice to know that there's people that are caring and investing. And I know you're not the only one. So make sure you say thank you. So we've talked a lot about the good work you're doing. Anything we haven't talked about? Oh, wait, you have a podcast. Talk about
I do have a podcast. I have, it's kind of infrequent. It just kind of hits every now and then. But it's called After School with Mr. Van Huss, and I put it on YouTube. I started that a couple of years ago because I wanted to get people in front of students that have found success doing things they love. And from where I've gone from the music business to teaching and all this different stuff, and I still go back and help CMA every year at CMA Fest, and I'll manage a stage. So it gets me in contact with a lot of people. And because I've done that, I've been blessed to meet so many cool people. And I wanted to get some of these people in front of students so they can say, hey, I'm a writer, I'm an athlete, I'm a singer. This is how I got to where I wanted to be. Here's the steps that I took. And it's never going to be the same steps for anybody, but hopefully a lot of the interviews that I've been able to do, I hope it just gives an example to students when they watch it that, hey, these people, they were sitting in the same desk I was at one point in time, and they, worked their way to the top. And I've been so lucky to have Keach Rainwater, the guy who was the drummer for Lone Star, did it. Doug Phelps from the Kentucky Headhunters talked to me. I got Fergie Jenkins, who was a Hall of Fame pitcher for the Chicago Cubs.
Oh, wow.
And so many up and coming artists like Troubadour Blue, Carissa Ella, Skylar Anderson, all these great people that have taken the time to just talk to my students. And it's been a lot of fun. And it's just something I do on the side, just, it's a good time.
Yeah. Okay. One more question. CMAs. So I went to CMA, I think it was 2002, back when it was at the Grand Ole Opry. So it has changed a ton.
It has changed a whole lot. We, when I was working there, we were still doing the award show at the Opry, out at the Opry House. I think the year after I left is when they moved down to Bridgestone. And I was there when CMA Fest first moved downtown.
Wow.
I had interned the very last year there at the fairgrounds when it was still Fanfare. And I got to see front row seat that whole transition of when they first moved downtown and started building it up. And it's just incredible. Some of the most hardworking people in the world. And it takes so many people to put that on and do that every year.
Yeah.
But it's a blast. I have a friend named Chris Kennedy who still works for CMA. And one of the first years I was teaching, I was talking to her and I said, hey, I'm off in the summers now. So if you ever need any help, let me know. And I think I was just kind of kidding around. She was like, are you serious? Because I need somebody to do something. And I went back, and this year I'm managing the Spotlight stage, which I think this will be the 5th or 6th year that I've been the manager of that stage. And this will be the 19th CMA Fest that I've worked. So closing in on 20.
So you were raised in Kingsport, but you have been in Nashville since we called it Fanfare, right?
Yes. I came down to MTSU after graduation. So I've been a Middle Tennessee resident for the most part ever since the fall of 1996. So I was here for Fanfare.
Pretty close to being a Nashville native. You at least
very close.
Yeah, very close. Well, thank you for being on today. I'm glad you were Hendersonville Gallatin now, and
absolutely,
and impacting our school system, and especially my kids. I'll be selfish and just say thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to be here, and it was an absolute pleasure to have both your kids in class, and they're great kids, and we've had a lot of laughs over the years. So I will miss Caleb, but hopefully we'll see Clara maybe again. I will say, to end out, I'm actually going to be teaching some new classes next year that Clara may get me for.
Okay.
I am teaching one class that is teaching as a profession, where if high school kids have an interest in being an educator,
well, that is Clara for sure.
Take my class,
okay.
So that'll be good. And I'm also super excited. I'm going to be teaching the American history of rock and soul.
Okay, I saw that because you won like a teacher of the month.
I
or
did.
something
Yeah,
for-
with Teach Rock.
Okay.
It's an organization that was started by Stevie Van Zandt, who most people either know as the guitar player in the E Street Band, or he has his own band called the Disciples of Soul, or he was on The Sopranos. And Stevie Van Zandt is like one of the coolest people in the world. And he started this organization that does different lessons that are geared toward like rock and pop music for teachers to use. And it's not only history, it's math, science, everything. So they developed this class that's basically U.S. history, but told through the history of like
That's
rock, pop,
amazing.
and soul music. So I feel like I was born to teach this class.
I believe so. Yes.
But it's a
Fully agree.
phenomenal organization, and I can't wait to next year to have my first section of that.
I mean, is there a wait list for this class? Do the kids
Probably.
know about it?
I've had a number of friends ask me about it and ask if I could like, broadcast it somehow, like on
Yeah.
Facebook Live or something. So
For sure. I mean, you could do a
Yes.
podcast all on that.
oh, it's gonna be so much fun. Like I've already looked through like most of the lessons, and it's incredible. Every day is something different, and I'm gonna walk them through the whole history of American music from probably like World War II up through present day.
That is amazing. Amazing. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
You can see the energy here. Don't forget to thank a teacher this week. Thanks for joining us.